All right, Katie, you're
Get
going to be
over
in
it.
charge of our second topic tonight. What do you got?
So we're gonna be talking about. I feel this is very controversial. Drag queens and drag shows, and really the really free speech. Um, so I don't know how much you guys have been following it, um, or really if you guys have at all. It's kind of been going on for. I mean, it's been going on for over a year. I mean, like everything like in the works and everything. And in Tennessee, there is now the Tennessee Adult Entertainment Act. And it's also known as the Tennessee Drag Ban, which basically, let me read verbatim what it says because I don't want to get myself caught in some stupid crap. Um, the act was vague in what it considered an adult cabaret performance, although it is defined as a male or female impersonators who provide entertainment that appeals to a, how do I say that word? Prurient interest. I know what word. I just don't know how to say it. It doesn't sound right on my in my mouth.
I don't even know where you're at, so you got this.
Anyway, but it's the first kind of act of its kind to ever be passed in the United States, and it was the first to be signed into law. It was signed last year in March, but also its status is halted
Mhm.
at the moment. So we're kind of revisiting that. There's a lot going on with that.
Well,
Um,
the good news is that a federal judge in Tennessee has ruled that it
yes.
is unconstitutional to
Hmm.
limit public drag show performances because it presents a quote unconstitutional restriction on the freedom of speech unquote. And
Absolutely.
I'm just going to add in my own word for that, and that would be duh.
Hmm. I think it is funny. I also found another article that mentions that, but whether whatever side of the political party you are, Trump has even come forward and saying that, um, well, the Trump appointed federal judge, like this is coming from like Republican, like right wing stuff, like,
Mm-hmm.
and this is something that so many
Mm-hmm.
people of that category, I mean, especially in the government, are so far against. For everyone to be speaking up on this, and it still be in consideration is absolutely ridiculous to me. Um, Everyone wants to talk about like it's out in the public, it's being shoved down our throats, whatever, any of that kind of stuff. But you have the option to go to this venue or whatever to go see this person. If you don't want to see this person, if you don't want to see drag queens, don't see them.
Well, to be fair, this is very dangerous legislation for a couple
Very,
of
very, very, very.
yeah, for a couple of reasons, and it doesn't even really have to. It doesn't
Deal with any of
have
that.
to deal with drag
Yep.
because essentially what it says, this law, which was passed
We're gonna,
into law with Tennessee Republicans who hold super majorities in both houses of their state legislature, as well
yep.
as the governor's office. All of that is that's what a supermajority is, if you're not
Mhm.
aware. But basically, this would bar all people. This would bar
Mhm.
all people
Yep.
from. I'm looking for the right words here.
That's why I was reading it.
This would bar all people from adult cabaret performances on
Yep.
public property. It would threaten violators with a misdemeanor and repeat offenders with a felony. The ban specifically includes, and this is really, really important to understand why this is dangerous, quote, male or female impersonators,
Yep.
unquote. It bans those things. So,
That when you start, okay, whatever you want to talk about, politics, whatever side you're on, however, whatever your morals, beliefs, whatever are. If I sit here and tell you to shut up and you can't say anything you want, and it like you legal, like you're gonna go get arrested if you start talking.
hmm,
I mean, insane.
yeah.
And this, take out the topic at all. They are. straight up making a law to where you cannot express yourself. Period.
Yep.
Period. End of day.
They are barring a certain group's freedom of expression. That's just the way it is. And as I was saying, the way this is written, with quote again, male or female impersonators unquote, that means somebody like Billie Eilish, who we'll be talking about in depth in a little while, who wears baggy clothes and tends to dress like a male at times, she would legitimately be breaking the law in the state of Tennessee just for wearing the clothes that she finds comfortable. Because all it would take is for a peace officer to feel like she was impersonating a male, and they could lock her up legally. That is some scary shit.
And then try it again and see what happens.
Right. Misdemeanor to felonies. Again, what I want people to try to do, it doesn't matter what side, like Kadie said, it doesn't matter what side of this you're on. What you need to look at these laws that people are trying to pass, the people that we send to represent us are trying to pass. If you don't like drag queens, that's cool. That's your own opinion. But all you got to do is take out the words drag queens and just put any other group that you do agree with in there. And how would you feel if that group was stopped from being able to say their freedom of expression?
Absolutely insane. I mean, it's straight up like if someone was like, "Oh, you can't sing country, you can't sing rock." It's the same thing.
Yep.
The same thing. I mean, obviously one's like bigger than the other or whatever you want, but it's the same thing. Same context.
Well, I mean,
it's entertainment.
It is.
I mean,
and I'm going to keep it real. I'm 47 years old. I'll be 48 in December. I have never, in 47 years, ever seen a public drag show anywhere on public property. Every single time I've ever personally gone to a drag performance, it was in a bar with at least an 18-year-old entry fee or entry age. I've never, ever, 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 ever seen a drag performance that could possibly be attended by a child. I don't know about you, and I'm friends with quite a few people that, you know, are drag performers that are amazing human beings.
Absolutely.
Again, I've never been to a drag performance that could possibly have a child at it.
And I mean, I don't know. I don't. This is literally
and for the
like
record, I'm just going to throw this out there. For the record, I would be 100% against any person of any ilk of life trying to sexualize a child. Period.
Absolutely.
That would include drag queens. That would include the church. That would include politicians. That would include the law. That would include
celebrities,
schooling, celebrities, the Me Too movement, all of that. The sexualization of a child is not only illegal, but it is absolutely disgusting. Period.
It's vile.
Yep.
Vile.
There is no worse, in my opinion, there is no worse crime you can commit on any other person. Period.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
But that's that. That is definitely a controversial thing that is out there. Luckily, for all of us, whether we agree with it or not, it is unconstitutional. It will always be unconstitutional. And just because you don't like a group of people doesn't mean that that group of people doesn't have the same rights that you do.
Exactly. When you start saying, "Oh, I mean, that's insane to say." That's just as bad as like, I mean, especially, okay, kind of on the same subject, but like when gay marriage became a thing, like that's a right. You know what I mean? Like everyone has the right to get married. You know what I mean? Like,
they should. They should. I mean, I don't
luckily now they can.
It's so hard to see people that are fighting for their own freedoms of everything, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom to bear
Yep.
arms, freedom to assemble, freedom of press, all of the freedoms that we have.
Yep.
It's really unfortunate, and that's probably not a strong enough word, to see people fighting so doggedly for their own rights, but they never stand up for somebody else's rights when they're trampled on.
Most of the time they never even stop to think about what it's like to be in their shoes.
Mm-hmm. And
Like,
that's
to even
essentially
just
what it
stop and
boils
take a
down
second.
to, right there. Bingo.
Like, say you watch a video, of some shit going down or whatever. Imagine being that person in that video.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't even think about that. If you sat down and you thought about that, you would think about, like, you would have a completely different thought process on a million different things. Like, if you just sat down and put your feet in their shoes.
Well, the fact of the matter is most of the time when you're not getting along with somebody else, it's because one of you is not educated enough.
Yep, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, honestly, the end of the human race is going to boil down to one word, and that's ignorance.
Yep, absolutely.
So anyway, like I said, it's good news. The law, every single drag related law that I have seen that's been attempted by one party over another to try to get them passed has been shot down by the courts. So, I mean, it's fairly simple. If you try to take away someone's rights, that's unconstitutional. And at least checks and balances are doing their job for the most part. And again, Katie made a good point. Just one more thing, real quick, and I'll let you go. She made a very good point that it was indeed a Trump-appointed federal judge that shot this down as unconstitutional.
That's what I was getting at. The people that are most against it can even see, like, this ain't right. This ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
In any way.
And you just have to remember, if somebody you dislike's rights have been taken away, then yours have been as well.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. We all have the same rights.
It's not just a law for certain people.
Yep.